Hey, Superior Shave fans, not humans, how you doing today? It's the 8th of September, 2023. Let me crack open one of my favorite vices, Diet Mountain Dew. Oh, that beautiful singer has it right on this crap, doesn't she? Well, I would like to introduce you to the Dovo Primo double-edged safety razor, which I'm going to take a piece and shave with it for the first time in my life. This is an all-new creation from Dovo that was released this year, and they took a couple of years to make it. The handle is brass on the inside with chrome plating. The top is the same material, the zinc alloy called Zamac, that is used in the previous administration's Merkur double-edged safety razors. Merkur was an independent company from Dovo, and then Dovo bought them 4 decades ago, and it became a subsidiary, like a daughter company as they call it in Germany. And it was a separate company owned by Dovo, operated separately inside the same building as Dovo. Well, they've gone their separate ways. So the man who purchased Dovo during the bankruptcy has sold the Merkur part, or maybe he didn't have it in the first place, I don't know. But they're no longer together, and the engineering of Merkur and the engineering of Dovo are completely separate. Now, if you read the shaving form expertise on the old Badger and Blade, there's a thread that says Dovo Primo razor from a couple of months ago. And in it, one fellow says it looks similar to a King C. Gillette intermediary piece. He's talking about this piece if you look at the underside. Well, looks like, no works like. Remember, that's important. Another guy I don't recognize says, it just looks like a new 23C with a non-scalloped bar. Yes, looks like, no works like. But the person who declares with authority, I do recognize that name, Tanuki. Tanuki says, Dovo branding, not Merkur, to imply that it's just a branding change as opposed to 2 different houses of engineerings. New handle, same Zamac head as always, except no scalloping. Well, that's called one divided by the truth, and I will explain to you in thorough detail. First of all, we have the top cap. I don't know if, let's see here if you could see. Let's see if I can do like this. So, can you tell that the little flat part in the middle is wider on the Merkur one than on this one? On the Dovo one, the little flat area is narrower on this as opposed to this because it had to start its curve earlier in the process of the head cap. And this curve is a little bit more curved than this curve. Also, where the tip of the metal comes together, the radius as expressed, it's a shorter radius. So you could see from the point there, if you were to measure a given distance behind, it's a little bit thicker on the Merkur one than on the Dovo one, because the Dovo one is curving more. It's curving more so that the blade, on a really aggressive razor typically, the blade is more like this relative to the handle. And then as you curve, that technically doesn't have anything to do with the aggression. But you will find that mild razors typically will have a more parallel blade to the handle axis. But that's a separate issue. The main issue that decides whether or not a razor is aggressive or not is the exposure, which is how you say, when you have the little skin stretcher thing in the top, how much does the blade come outside of that plane? If we were to take a flat surface and put a flat surface on there, how much does the blade go outside of that? That's one definition of exposure. The other definition would be, what is the native angle of that blade edge relative to where the skin is aligned? On the old Merkur one, this little middle part here is coming up at about 45 degrees, this little stretching thing. On the new one, it's lower. I don't know how much lower, 5 degrees at least, but the angle of the stretcher is lower because the top of the head is more curved and the angle is lower, but the blade comes out and is exposed outside of the dimensions of the head more on this new one than on the old one. The blade is exposed more on this new head than it is on the old head. And the area between the gap that you measure, if you took a little spark plug feeler and measured the distance between where the edge is and then the distance to the very first little edge of the guard bar, it's a little bit bigger on the Dovo than on the old Merkurs. But let me show you definitively with my little digital caliper here. So I'm going to measure the distance from side to side first. So let's see here, it says 0, 0, you got that? Okay, we're coming up at about 25.0 millimeters. And on the new one, starting off at 0, okay. It's about 24.5 or 24.6. This only goes to 1/10 of a millimeter, but that's 4/10 of a millimeter. That is a substantial difference. The intermediary piece is narrower. The blades didn't change their size, and because it's narrower and the head cap is more curved, the blade comes out of the dimensions of the head more. Furthermore, like I told you, I don't have a protractor that can measure this little thing, but like I said, this little angle right here has been reduced from this angle, and the height from the bottom of this to the top surface on this older one, what do we got, about 2.3? Is it really that high? Okay, 2.3. Wow, it's thicker than I thought it was. And on the new one, 1.9. The intermediary cap is thinner this way. The angle of this little hill has been reduced. The head cap has been curved. There is more gap, and the distance from here to here is less than on that one. It's a goodly sum less. All of that means that this is an entirely new engineered head. Yeah, it's the same materials as the head. The engineering is different, and that's a critical thing that Tanuki needs to apologize for his made-up name in public, because he said, same Zamac head as always, except no scalloping, and he is wrong. They have decreased the native angle of the blade to the skin. They have increased the amount of exposure of the blade outside of the head dimensions. They have increased the curvature of the top cap. They have increased the gap. Oh, and one more thing I needed to show you. The holes for the lather cutout are a little bit bigger on the Dovo one than on the Merkur one. I don't know if you could see that here, but I already measured it with a caliper, and it was 2/10 of a millimeter wider on this one. We got 3.1 mm across on the new one, and about 2.8 on the old one. The side to side, it might be a little different. Let's see. I didn't measure that. 33.9 on the old one, 33.9. They didn't change that. So they just made the little cutout a little bit bigger, which should help a tiny bit. All right, well, that was issue number 1. Don't trust everything you read on the internet, okay? Let's go shave with this thing. I'm excited about this. I've been shaving with Merkur double-edged safety razors for multiple decades. I am quite familiar with them, and it is a good basic system. I am going to shave with this French no-name brush that came in a set that I bought that had importation papers that denoted who made this knot, and it's not a company you would know as an end user, but it's a company in France that just makes brush knots. And they said that in the paper that the origin of the hair was in Europe. I can't say more than that because I don't want to give them away who they are. I'm going to use the Osma pre-shave oil. I'm going to use a bar of soap to wash my face first. I'm going to use the Dovo Citrus Lion shaving soap and the Dovo Citrus Lion aftershave. This may be a Eurasian badger, but good Lord, it was the smelliest knot from a new piece that I think I've ever had in my life. And I sure hope I don't still smell it. This Dovo soap is made by Ariana and Evans for Dovo, and it is a vegetarian base. There is no tallow in this one. They do have one that's got tallow. It's called Deep Leather. To be honest, I do not like soaps that have tallow in them generally because I can almost always smell that particular acrid note of the beef tallow. It burned up in my fire in my house, but I did have an old puck of tobacco, which had tallow base. I heard they switched that to vegan now. Never did smell the tallow in that one. Just smelled like some old leather purse that's been left in a bar with a bunch of tobacco smoke around it. But in a good way. I need a little water in here. Okay, here goes nothing. This should be exciting, huh? Oh, I forgot that's a Dovo blade. Dovo has new blades that are also made in Germany, and they include one of those with this razor. When you buy the razor, you get a pack of 10 of the new blades. They're expensive blades. Well, it certainly does feel like there is notably more blade exposure than on the Merkur. As to whether it has better pass-for-pass efficiency, I'm going to need some more time with it. Right now, I just want to see how close can I get. Taking as many passes as I want. I would say the best razor for me, with an unlimited time to use the DE razor, is the Focus R51, the one with the flat head. It has the least blade feel you could possibly imagine, and to be honest, it's actually hard to get it to cut at all if you don't have the angle correct. This razor will not suffer that, but the Focus it's just remarkable how it can't bite you. I'm sure this could bite you if you bore down. The Focus, you have to bear down. It doesn't work at all if you don't press down. And we sell it pretty well. And there are other people like me that love this, the Focus razor. But the Focus razor, R51 anyway, it's a slow razor because you're not going to get very much with one pass. You need to go down and then across and then backwards, and then you get a really close shave, but it needs time. I've always felt the regular Merkur head was really good for combining speed and efficiency. Ooh, that does feel fantastic. Oh, man, that feels great. I'm going to try to come toward the center of my face now. Quite honestly, it feels like there's nothing there to chase. It feels like it got it really good on the first pass. Very impressive. Again, these are just first impressions, so don't read too much into it. Wow. Wow, that's really good. Wow. So, in the just one pass category, the best razor I've ever used, I would say, is the famous, and I didn't have it at home, so it got eaten by the fire. The famous original Miula R41, which it feels like it's ripping off your face, but that thing, you just need one pass, and you are shorn like a sheep in fall. I'm just going to do some J hooks or backwards and stuff and see what. Oh. Boy, there's just nothing there. It's all gone. Wow, that was extraordinary backwards pass. That backwards pass felt almost as good as when you go backwards with the R51, you can't even feel that it's working. You have to look in the lather to see anything. But because it's a flat head, and the way that the handle and the blade come together, it's really hard to go backwards on your face with the R51 because the handle's always getting in the way of things. Because this standoff angle is a little more appropriate, that was pretty easy to do. Let me just, I'm feeling for stuff to hunt for. That's nothing, man. That's an amazing shave. Wow, that's really good. All right. Here's the real test, the Alum Stone, also available at the Superior Shave. This is the Osma BP2C. Wow. Incredible lack of stingle. Wow. Man, that's just depressing for like how good that is versus a straight razor. A straight razor, to get that kind of outcome, you really have to be on top of everything. And you can sort of just get it for free with a double-edged razor. Of course, you are throwing away something, and I don't really feel like I accomplished anything. When you do it with a straight razor, yeah, you feel like you accomplished something. So that's why I stick with the straight razor. But when you get an outcome like this, which I can tell is just an extraordinary shave, yeah, it's only the very, very best straight razor shaves beat the very, very best safety razor shaves. And if they beat it, they don't beat it by much. You know? All right, fine, the safety razor does a really good job, but you don't get the cool use, you know? I'm gonna feel great because of this shave for the rest of the day. But when I get this kind of outcome from the straight razor, you're walking around like, yeah, I did that. I did that, and you couldn't do that. Anybody could do this. All right, the Citrus Lion aftershave, coming out goopy. That celery cucumber top note. And then it's like Old Spice from a long time ago. A little bay rum action. That is a good smell. All right, careful what you take for advice on the internet. That is nothing at all like the Merkur double-edged safety razor, and I'm here to put my name assigned to that, and that's the damn truth. That is a completely different razor. The Dovo Primo, that's a keeper. Hey, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.